Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, this week, the Senate takes another step toward regular order in the appropriations process here in the Senate. The package before the Senate today contains the fiscal year 2019 appropriations bills for the subcommittees on Interior, Financial Services, Agriculture, Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development. Madam President, we have not debated an Interior Appropriations bill on the floor of the United States Senate in nearly 10 years. The Financial Services Appropriation Bill has not seen floor action in several years either. Why, Madam President? Because year after year, party line votes in committees represented the end of the line in the legislative process. Yet here we are today debating both of these appropriations bills and more on the Senate floor. So what changed, Madam President? What changed was the mindset of appropriators on both sides of the aisle who embraced a willingness to sacrifice partisan riders and priorities outside the committee's jurisdiction for the good of the process. Together, Madam President, we've committed to do what's good for the process because we want to do what's right by the American people. This approach is yielding meaningful results thus far. The Interior and Financial Services bills in this package both won the unanimous consent approval of the Appropriations Committee, which is generally unheard of. Unanimous, Madam President. We haven't seen that level of support for these bills in quite some time around here. The Agriculture and Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development bills also garnered the unanimous support of the Appropriations Committee. I want to take a minute to commend the chairman of these subcommittees, Senator Murkowski, Senator Collins, Senator Hoeven, and Senator Lankford, for their leadership in the process. I also, again, want to thank Vice Chairman Leahy and the ranking members of these subcommittees for their hard work. The senators have worked together to produce strong, I believe, bipartisan bills. This broad bipartisan support paved the way for the full Senate consideration of these bills, and I want to thank leaders McConnell and Schumer for agreeing to bring this package to the floor. And as we begin debate this week, we can leverage our recent success in passing appropriation bills. Madam President, just last month, the Senate passed a package of 3 fiscal year 2019 appropriations bills with overwhelming support. This support was facilitated by an open amendment process and a willingness to work together to address legitimate members' concerns. As a result, the process was both open and, I believe, disciplined. More importantly, it was successful, passing by a vote of 86-5. Yes, 86-5. The bill managers on both sides of the aisle will seek to replicate the process and success with the package now before the Senate. We ask the continued cooperation of all senators in this effort. Critical mass, Madam President, and that's what we're building here in the Senate. Critical mass for return to regular order in the appropriations process. By completing our work in a deliberate and timely manner on this package, we can turn next to the Defense and Labor HHS education package. And while completion of our work on the current package would mean that we have passed more than half of the 2019 appropriations bills, the lion's share of discretionary spending, as you know, Madam President, is contained in the Defense and Labor HHS bills. Very important to all of us here, very important to our constituents, and very important to our country, Madam President. So again, Madam President, I encourage our colleagues to participate in this process and help sustain the momentum that we've generated thus far. We have a lot of work to do, but we're making real progress. I hope my colleagues find this encouraging. Madam President, I certainly do. And with that, I yield the floor.